What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Tomb Raider game yet again. We got some talk on it, and it doesn't happen all that often, so whenever it does, it's kind of a big deal, at least to me, and I think some people on the internet as well. Kind of two interesting parts to it, or two things of note. One of which is that the game is okay and going well, or doing well, right? And you would hope that's the case, but you know, every game that's in development right now, there's a high possibility that some of those games are not doing well. So that's one part of it. The other part of it was talking about actually being quite open with how Embracer how that all works, right? Does Embracer deal with them when Embracer was just shutting down freaking half their company, right? When they, all those layoffs, all those studio closures, did that impact the development of this game? And the answer is no. So I want to read over the article and we'll talk about it a little bit after. So the article, I'm going to read it from Video Games Chronicle. It originally was IGN, and they talked to the Amazon Games boss. Okay, so that's who's talking here, not necessarily the lead of like the studio, but Amazon. So he says the studio, from what I can tell, is fairly sheltered from everything going on with Embracer. I mean, it has to be, because Embracer never was one company. It was just an accumulation of an incredibly large amount of independent businesses, and not just game development. There's books, there's games, this and that. And they always were very sheltered. People obviously look at what the parent company is doing, but it never impacted the resources, never led to any changes on management, so they're fine. He talks about, you know, in terms of the expectation. I mean, doing a new Tomb Raider, the bar is so high. The longer you go, the expectation goes higher. So it's a huge, huge task, but things are progressing. I mean, there's some really great ideas here. Obviously, we're not going to share any with you, even if we would love to, but things are going well. Things are moving forward. He also added, and from what I could tell, Crystal was pretty sheltered. The studio went through a couple of ownership changes anyway before. It's not brand new for them. They were kind of doing games with moving around anyway. And like, okay, new sheriff, you know what I mean? New owner in town. Let's just keep on doing what we do and make games. And so there you go. I'm happy to see the transparency. Now, it's not from Crystal Dynamics, and it's not from Embracer. It's actually from, not necessarily like a third party, because Amazon has a pretty big part to play with the game here. But it's good to hear that stuff, because you know, I'm not even joking when I talk about the opening of this video, right? Like, Embracer is shutting down things left and right. We still don't know, like, the status of things like the Knights of the Old Republic remake, right? Like, the rumor is that's still going on. There's been a little talk, but the transparency is not there. Tomb Raider and the Tomb Raider game, this Tomb Raider game, is one of the biggest things that Embracer is doing, like, period. You know what I mean? So it would be nice to know, as they're shutting down half of their studios and laying off tens of thousands of people, you know, is the game going to be okay? Is Crystal Dynamics going to be okay? And now we get our answer that they are. So that's good. Now, okay, the game is still the game, and we'll have to judge the game, you know, accordingly. But I'm rooting for it. You know, every time I see a Tomb Raider thing, or whenever there's like the rumors of Uncharted, I miss that era. Like, when Tomb Raider and Uncharted were going back and forth, and they were almost like stealing ideas off of each other and kind of one-upping, and then the next one would one-up the one before. That was a cool era that I don't think I really, especially because I was so into Uncharted, I never really connected with those three Tomb Raider games, but I'm going to replay them, you know, getting into this new one. But that was a cool era, because I miss the treasure hunting thing. I mean, maybe like Indiana Jones will scratch that itch a little bit, but third person, you know, action adventure, you got your puzzles, you got your relics, you got your big action sequences. Like, I miss it. And I mean, it's in games here and there. It's not like there's no action sequences, but I think that was a pretty good era that I want back. So I'm rooting for them. It's great to see that. You know, again, this is stuff that you hopefully don't even need to talk about for most games, right? It's just for this situation, you kind of have to. Now you can focus on the game. So, yeah, they have a lot to prove. I'm not saying, like, it's going to be a 10 out of 10 game or anything, or that you should just give them your trust or anything like that. But it's good to get this stuff out of the way, that, you know, there was no outside, you know, tampering with it, and they were largely unaffected, if not, you know, unaffected just entirely, right? Good to hear. Definitely good to hear. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.